Welcome to the Hank Cisco Show, ladies. Don't touch that remote. We got a show here, special show for Veterans Day, okay? And it'll be shown the whole week at Veterans. Now, my guests, one from the United States Army and one from the United States Marine. And we have a first sergeant from the United States Army, and we have a sergeant from the Marine Corps. Now, I'm going to just ask them to introduce themselves because you know how I am with names. You know, I don't want to mispronounce anybody's name. So, as I am with the lieutenant, sergeant, tell them what your name is and your rank.
I'm a first sergeant in the Army. My name's First Sergeant Michael Hunyon.
Okay, now, tell me something about yourself.
I've been in the Army for 23 years now. I was initially went in 1986, active duty down at Fort Benning. I'm an infantryman. And,
Fort Benning, that was paratroop, no?
That's where airborne school was too, and you see I got my airborne wings on right here.
Oh, my God.
I went to airborne school in 1986
You jumped out of
well.
airplanes?
I did.
My God. Go, okay, I didn't know that.
Yep.
Go ahead.
So after that, then I did my first 3-year hitch, active duty, came out, went into the National Guard. Was up and served out of Westchester in the National Guard for about 8 years after that.
Okay, and now, and you went from the Norristown Police, you were a serviceman before the Norristown Police, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, and Norristown Army, and then you, West Norton, but you went into active duty
Again.
when you were at West Norton.
Yes, I've been in the reserves ever since, so I've never had a long break in service. I served, you know, on weekends and whatnot, and then during our conflict post 9/11, I recently returned from Afghanistan, doing a year over there.
In other words, if there's some kind of conflict, you could go.
That's correct.
You too?
No, I
All right, now I'm going to do my introduce my. Here it's a U.S. You were a sergeant with the United States Marine, right?
correct.
All right, tell me something about yourself.
Well, I went into the Marine Corps. I did a year of college, and I decided at
What
that
college?
time, I was at University of Pittsburgh at Johnstown. And then after
That's
that
what had the
first-
big flood.
the big flood.
You have anything to do with that? No.
Not as far as I know.
Go ahead.
So 99, I went into the Marines for 4 years. I served as an infantryman. And after 4 years, I came out as the rank of a sergeant. And then I finished up my school. I went back to school at Temple University.
And in other words, wasn't that a certain plan that if you went to college, then you would get? I mean, if you went to service for 4 years, then you get a college education for free or something?
Sure, you get the GI Bill.
Yeah, is that still active?
Yes, it is.
How about that? Well, and that's a good thing for young people. You know, you go into service for 4 years, and then you get your college paid.
It's a tremendous thing.
Tremendous thing, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
It helped me out a lot.
All right, but tell me, where were you born? What school you go to?
I was born in Norristown.
Norristown, Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
All right, and then, so now you're with the West Norton Police Department,
I am.
right? All right, and get back to you. Now, you're married?
I am.
How many children you got?
I got 2 kids. I've been married for 17 years. We've been together for like 22 years.
Wow. All right, what's the kids' names?
Sean, and he's a senior at Springford High School, and my daughter Jessica is a freshman at Springford.
Oh, yeah? All right, and how about your wife? What's her name?
Rhonda.
Rhonda, okay.
And Rhonda works at New Life. She works at a juvenile program out in Upper Salford.
What you do?
She works in a juvenile program.
Oh, yeah?
She works with disadvantaged kids.
Good, that's great. All right, now, why did you pick the Marines?
I wanted to run around with guns and learn how to do all that fun stuff, jump out of helicopters and planes, and never
Well,
jumped out of a
he
plane.
likes planes jumping
I never
out,
got
and you
to
like
do a
ride
plane,
guns.
yeah. Did some helicopters, though.
Well, the one guy says, I joined the Navy because I didn't want to carry the gun. Let the boat carry the gun.
There
No,
you go.
that's an old joke.
That's a
Go
good
ahead.
mentality, because guns are heavy.
Huh?
Those
But,
guns get pretty heavy.
what kind of gun was that? M1? I mean, when I was in the Army, M1, you know, I don't know if they still have it or...
That was a few years ago.
Yeah.
Yep, we've gone through a couple of different weapon systems since then. Now that most soldiers are carrying the M4.
Did you ever shoot the bazooka gun? The bazooka? That was the scariest gun. It's a big thing, you know. I thought it would kick, you know, but...
It doesn't
shoots
feel
out
like
there.
a whole
Don't-
lot.
it don't
Just
kick.
a little pop in your
Oh,
shoulder.
yeah,
Surprising,
you know. All right, now where'd you take your basic training?
Down at Paris Island, South Carolina.
All right, now tell me something about the basic training. What is something, you were on some kind of special detail or special unit or something? What's that? Is there certain special training they have?
Well, down at Paris Island, everybody is the same. You know, you go down there, you kind of, from the movies and, you know, what your buddies tell you that we're down there, you kind of form an impression of what it's going to be like. And it's nothing like what you thought it was going to be. You know, it's a different world down there. It was rough, but I thoroughly
Enjoy it.
I
Right,
think
right. How about, will you take your basic?
I took basic training down at Fort Benning, Georgia, which is the home of the infantry.
Fort Benning, okay. And then, all right, so then you went overseas. What
Overseas didn't come for a long time after that. I was stationed at 3 years at Fort Benning and did most of my career. And then once 9/11 occurred and we ended up having all these troops in the Middle East, as a reservist, deployment started coming up for all the Reserve and National Guard soldiers over the years. So my deployment was to go over and serve in Afghanistan to assist the Afghan Army and the Afghan police force in taking charge of their own country, so that our forces could then transition out.
Did you learn any language? Did you learn how to speak anything like?
Very little.
Very little.
Yeah, I'm not real great with the languages, and the Afghan language was difficult.
Eat, I guess eat, manja in Italian. You know,
Right.
That's one word you want to learn, huh?
I would have to. I can't even remember what it was in Afghan. Like to ask somebody how they're doing. Chaturisti is what we used to do. We used to walk up to them, and we would shake hands and chaturisti.
Shake hands? Is that the traditional?
Yeah. They kind of picked it up because we've been there for so long. We've been there for almost 10 years now, or for a little more than 10 years now. So they pick up a lot of the things that we do. Like oftentimes a hello for them is to take your right hand and just put it over your heart.
That's hello?
And that's hello. Like when you're going and passing, instead of waving like we wave, you just kind of put your right hand over your heart, and you just come up, and then you drop your hand back down, and that's a way of saying hello to them. But they've gotten to the point where they shake hands with you, and they wave and all that stuff in the same way that we do now.
Do they treat you nice, or, well, not nice, but...
The overwhelming majority of the people are just like us. They just want to be left alone to go to work and take care of their families, and have a life for themselves. And they're, for the most part, great people.
Right.
Just the problem was, that insurgency over there didn't seem to want to let it go.
Well, that's good. How about now? You were in the land. We see a lot of times we're going to switch over and fold the flag. A lot of people see the flag fold at funerals and all. Let's see how we do that. Okay? Let's try that.
We're going to demonstrate for you the proper method of folding a flag. Take the lower end of the flag, fold it up towards the top, then re-secure, and then fold again in half with the folded portion towards the top of the flag. Pull it tight, and then I will begin folding. My first fold is from the folded portion of the flag towards the open portion, and I fold in triangular folds. And I continue to do that the length of the flag. Now, once it's folded almost to the end, then Anthony will tuck the bottom portion of the flag into the folded portion. When the flag is completely folded, all we should see is just blue field. Good. And then once folded, and once the flag is folded, here I'll hand it off to Mr. Cisco, and then I'll demonstrate a proper salute. After I hand the flag off, in order to show proper respect to the colors, we'll give a hand salute. Present arms. Order arms. And that's it.
Okay, this is what the flag looks like and folded. So you'll see it at the funerals and where the people, where they fold it, a certain way of folding it, and then they present it to the wife or brother or sister, whoever, the family. So we'll go with it, okay? Right. So
Can I just look at it just for a second here? When it's all folded up, you got to make sure, or one of the things you want to make sure of is just that it's only the blue field that's showing. It's difficult, like you'll see maybe a little red trim or whatever, but for a properly folded flag, it's supposed to be nothing but the field of blue showing. And then as you fold it, it takes two people to fold it. That's why Anthony and I had to fold it together, so that each fold represents something in history. So there's 13 or 14 folds, and then each fold represents something over time. And then
the flag never touches the ground.
Right.
It comes down from that pole.
That's a whole other story about the flag, how it's to be flown. You know, make sure that the stars are over on the top left-hand side.
That's right.
And then if the flag's upside down, it means distress, right? Like if a ship has it.
Absolutely.
So the flag has a lot to do with it. The colors of the flag. So.
Flag could be at half-mast for someone who passed. You know.
Right. Now your experiences in overseas. You were in what country where you got that thing?
This country. This was actually in a port in Kuwait. This was during the invasion during 9/11.
They have all different countries over there, you know,
Right.
and they have different. So what's that? What's that?
No, this is a turban.
Oh yeah.
It's with the residents of that
sort
area.
Of a religious thing, right?
Well, you know what they do? They wrap it around their head to keep cool too.
Yeah,
It gets pretty hot.
I don't know. Well, I don't making fun of anybody, but you know, I often wonder how they wrap that. I guess you would go something like this. I don't know. Let me see. They go something like this, and I would go like this. Where's all the gold? I mean, not the gold, the oil. Where's the oil? Okay, no, but that is. I think something religious to it, and I don't mock anything religious. I think that it's nice, but in the sun, weather over there, you have to have something on your head.
Absolutely.
You know?
Like the religious aspect of it is mostly for the females. It's mostly for the religious aspect refers to the females, where they have to have their face covered and all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
So they would wear a lot of.
too,
but
right?
the men also put it over their heads just to keep warm, keep cold.
Keep the sun?
Yeah, keep the sun out of their face and whatnot. And they wrap it all kinds of different ways. You'll see all kinds of crazy stuff.
And Kuwait.
Kuwait.
Yeah. How did people treat you there?
You know, surprisingly well.
Yeah.
You know, in the port, everyone was fine. There were vendors there, just looking to make a living, and we were happy to see them just as they were happy to see us. Because food.
How about food? What kind of food? They do different countries. What kind of food did you eat over there?
We always have our military food, the MRE they call it.
Did you go to the little stores?
Sure, we went to the stores. It was a treat when we got a chance to go out there to experience the different.
What did you get? More rice, I guess. Huh?
Rice and chicken and whatever they got.
How about over there?
Now in Afghanistan, we would do convoy all the time, so I was always in the truck. We were headed all over to different parts of the country. I was up in the mountains, we were out in the desert, all over the country. And so in safer areas, and they did exist, there were some safe areas where you could stop in and kind of meet with the folks, because we'd have to refuel, stop. So when we'd stop, a lot of times we'd go to one of the stands up there and get a kebab or get some of the local food, and it would be the kebab wrapped in their bread, you know, stuffed with goat or stuffed with beef or...
No pizza, no spaghetti.
No pizza, no
spaghetti.
No
pizza, no spaghetti.
Pizza?
No.
Oh, well, maybe they have it over there now, Burger King.
Now they have it in some of the bigger FOBs over there, some of the bigger bases in country, but certainly not out in the country.
Yeah, that would be great, you know. You can't have a war without pizza, you know. But now, talking about, I was in the service too, so I just wanted to see what took my training at Camp Wheeler, Georgia. And that's me over here. That's that was one of our trainings. And I was, you know, when I got drafted, and when I got drafted with all my buddies, we went there for examination, and I got turned down, like 4F. Had a perforated eardrum and a bunion. And so they rejected me, and all my buddies all went to the service, and I'm home, you know, 4F. And when you're 4F, you know, that was something. The girls didn't want to say, whoa, what's wrong with him? You know, what's wrong? But... So then I became an amateur boxer, and I got into Golden Gloves in Philadelphia. And I went to the finals. And the Philadelphia Daily News had a picture with all the guys in the final. It had me, Hank Cisco, and Norristown Sensation. And next thing you know, a week later, I get a call from the draft board. And they had the newspaper there, and it says, is that you? He says, yeah. He says, well, if you can fight in the ring, you can fight in the Army. Next thing you know, I'm on the train heading for Camp Wheeler, Georgia. So,
there you go.
But then, even then, I had a problem with my foot swelled up, so they give me a desk job or so, you know. But all my buddies, they went overseas and all, but that's one of them things, you know. But I did my part, and I'm so happy that, you know, that we have people like you that are willing to volunteer and go in there and you know, defend us and help us, and people don't realize that, you know. But another thing, that Sinorama has a little sign here. If you have someone that's coming back from the Army or Navy or Marines or so, and they'll make a sign almost as big as that flag, and for nothing, you know, welcome home and your name and all, which I think is a nice honor. So it's up in Logan Square there, Johnson Highway and Markley Street. So it's a good thing that people are patriotic, you know. Now, what's the closest thing to come of getting hurt? What was the scariest moment in your life?
Well, certainly for me was, for our deployment, was our first convoy. Our first convoy outside of the Kabul area, and we were headed down south, and the southern regions was where most of the violence existed, and we're going through a particularly bad spot in Saidabad, which was about an hour and a half, 2 hours outside of Kabul. And there was a lot of traffic. It's amazing the amount of traffic in there in Afghanistan. You would think that it wasn't, but there's trucks and all that stuff all over the place. And there's only one road that goes all around the country, the ring road. And we were on the ring road. As we were going down through there, our lead truck got hit by an IED and blew a 15-ton truck about 30 feet off the road. Never seen anything like it in my entire life. Oh. The best part about it was that those trucks are unbelievably built to withstand that type of blast. All our guys crawled out of the truck. So we went up there and pulled security for them, took some small arms fire, pulled our guys out of the truck, and were able to get everybody medevaced and not have anybody severely hurt. Had to send a couple guys home from injuries, but everybody's still walking and talking. So, but that was the one bad day.
Yeah, scary thing. Well, thank God, you know, the prayers come in handy, right?
Yes, they do.
Now, how about now? You had your military training helps you in life. There's sometimes that even your police work, the experiences you had in the service, sometime would be helpful. Your training. How about you? You had an experience off the. You were at where was it, down on the shore someplace, and somebody started choking or something, and everybody was howling, screaming, and well, tell me about that. What happened?
Oh, I was down the shore on vacation, and an elderly woman was choking on some of her food, and yeah, unbeknownst to me, I noticed a commotion in the restaurant, and they call it military training or instinct. I mean, I don't know. I just made my way over there, calmly asked if they needed any assistance, and I had never done the Heimlich on anyone. I mean, I've practiced it in classes, and I started doing the Heimlich maneuver on her, and it's a little different in real life. You know, you really have to use a significant amount of force, or at least I did. And then when you practice, you don't realize that. It's different when it's a real person in your arms.
You squeeze it, put in.
There's a sweet spot right here, just under the sternum, that you make a fist and you wrap your fist, and it's an in and up motion, in and up. And I started off about the force that I used in the classes that I learned the technique. Then I picked it up a few notches. Then I was doing it as hard as I could do, because all I thought was, this lady, I don't want her to die in my arms. Oh. So it was a little strenuous for myself. I think I'm in half decent shape. Fortunately, it was a success. The food came up, and they were very grateful. Everyone was very grateful.
Well, if somebody owned the restaurant, they want you to come down and a free meal or something?
They comped our meal, gave us a bottle of champagne.
How about your training? You know, I often wondered for being jumping out of airplanes, parachute, it takes a little different kind of guts. You know, people have guts, and I can do this, I can do that, but I don't know if I could do that. I'm afraid of height.
I'll be honest with you, I was never a big fan of heights either, but it was just something that looked like it was a lot of fun, and it was, at that time, it was an elite branch of the military that I really wanted to get into. I mean, there was only a small percentage of soldiers that could be paratroopers, and I wanted to go on to ranger training and all that stuff, so it was only 3 weeks long, airborne school. So you go in and they have a ground week, they have a tower week, and they have a jump week. and you're so excited that first jump.
Yeah.
You know, you don't realize that you're 1,250 feet in the air, and you know you're going to have only a big piece of silk keeping you from crashing into the ground. You're just so excited to do it. But so maybe I got scared on the second jump or the third jump or after graduation for my first couple of jumps after graduation. But that first one, you're just so excited you can't wait to get out the door. And it was a great experience. I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Oh, great. Now, you had part of your training underwater, something about you do swimming underwater. What are some of the scary things there? I know I took the Northtown Police. I was down for help drown guys.
The dive unit? Yeah.
Man, they say, yo, breathe slow. I used up all the oxygen to go down. I'm not good on that. But is that a special training? Did you get underwater?
Well, I did a little bit of scuba. It wasn't a normal part of our training. It was a little bit of an extracurricular thing that isn't typically done by a normal infantry unit. But sure, it's a lot different breathing from a machine, technically, underwater from a tank. And you're breathing through your mouth.
Oh.
You have to control your breathing, sure, and there's a
Control it.
control it.
Yeah.
You don't want to go down too fast. You don't want to go too deep too fast, or you don't want to come up too fast.
Yeah.
'Cause you can
get what they call the cramps or the jams or something.
The bends, I guess?
The
Bends. How about you? Did they give you training underwater in case you would land in the ocean?
They have that training available, scuba training for
Paratroopers.
it's another elite school that some soldiers get to go to. However, I never went to that school, and it's a really tough school. It's like going to Navy SEAL school or
It's like
something
the
like that.
Navy
It's pretty
SEALs.
tough. It's pretty tough.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's not an opportunity I ever got.
You know, we talk about Armistice Day. John Glenn, I read an article about John Glenn when he came back. He was the first guy up in space, and he had a meeting with the ministerial, all the clergy, and the first one up in the heaven. And the one minister asked him, he says, well, Colonel John Glenn, what goes through your mind when you're in a capsule and you're going to be shot up in space? What goes through your mind? And he looked and he said, underneath me was 183 moving parts, and every one was awarded to the lowest bidder. So, you know, you say, here it is, you know, same with the police officer and soldiers. The ammunition and the guns and everything was given to the lowest bidder. And I don't know if that's the best equipment, so, you know, it's something to think about. I think President Truman became very popular because he found out that the ammunition factories were shortened with the powder. They were putting less powder in, and he exposed it, you know, and he became like a hero out of it, you know. Mm. But these are things. Now, we've talked about Armistice Day. Now, Armistice Day was what? Tell us a little something in there.
Armistice Day
was about
1918.
Tell us about that.
The end of the First World War. It was the armistice was signed the 11th day of the 11th month, November, on the 11th hour, 1918, and it signified peace among warring nations and all hostilities.
So, but then, because the Armistice Day was just the First World War, then it was the Second World War, and then the other. So, I think what president was one of the presidents that proclaimed Veterans Day covers all. Is that something there?
And after the Second World War, the U.S. Changed the name to Veterans Day.
Veterans Day, and that covers every Civil War and everything else, right?
Everyone as well.
Right.
Every service member.
Right. And I remember when I lived on Chester Street in Adam Scheit's Brewery, and all the whistles would blow at 12 o'clock. Everybody, the whistles would blow, and people would shoot guns up in the air, and the fireworks and all. You know, that was the end of the war, Armistice Day. You know, but now, tell me now, you're active police officers, right?
Right.
And that military training is helpful in a way. Tell me something. In what way? Discipline?
Sure, discipline. I think you mature as a young man a little differently than the typical young man. You definitely develop a tremendous work ethic. You know, you look at things a little differently. I know I appreciated everything that I had. I didn't always want to go into police work. You know, I thought I was going to be a salesman.
Yeah.
You know, corporate world.
Well, I didn't persuade you to become a policeman, did I?
Not at all. No, it was
I
just.
had one thing. I would. You're my grandson, and I was so happy that that you want to become a police officer. I heard that. I said, "Oh boy, that's great," but I did not, because you know, you have to be a certain person to want to help people. You know, and if you're not that, then forget about it. You know.
Right.
But so you're on there now, right?
Once I learned a little bit about the job and what we actually do, it's right up I can't imagine doing anything else. I really can't.
Right.
I mean, it's a very rewarding position. You know, you get to help people every day,
Right.
and they appreciate it.
How about you?
As far as being a soldier first of all, I was only 18 years old. And I mean, you know, although the law says you're an adult at that time, you're not. You're still a kid. You're still growing up. You're still maturing and all that stuff. And especially, it seems like kids these days maybe need that extra time to mature, need that time to grow up. They're in there playing their video games. And, you know, when we were little kids, I think we were a little more active and a little more, maybe we grew up a little faster. Just times were different, you know? You get so much stuff at your fingertips now that we didn't have back then, so you had to grow up a little bit. And it's certainly going into the military as an 18-year-old kid, awakened me to that daily grind, to doing something for somebody other than yourself, serving people, serving a greater cause other than yourself. And let's face it, kids, whether you know they're 50 now or 18 now, kids are selfish and they think about themselves and they don't really get the big picture. And that's what it opened up for me, was that big picture, and the opportunity to do something for somebody other than yourself.
There was a great football coach for Notre Dame years ago. I can't think of his name now. They made a movie about him. Well, they asked him one time, "What do you look for? You're a coach. What do you look for one of your players? For a good passer, a good runner, a guy that can tackle good? What do you look for?" He says, "I look for a guy that has a desire to play. If you don't have the desire to play, you're not going to be a good player." So, a police officer, if you don't have the desire to help people, you're not going to enjoy your life, and you're not going to be helping anybody, and you live a, you don't want to, you want to help people, you know.
And
I put the 37 years of police work. I enjoy it. I'm 88 now, and I miss it.
People thank you to this day.
Oh yeah, I had a lot of friends, you know, but I got some select enemies too. You know, you always get enemies.
Right, I walk around the streets with you, and I know.
When I first put the uniform on, I'm walking. Boy, first day in the uniform, and people saying hello to me. I said, "What that? I don't know that guy saying hello," but they're showing respect. Okay, so I didn't answer. So I don't know. So finally, I said, "I'm going to say hello. When in doubt, just like in the Army. When in doubt, salute." So
Right.
when in doubt, I'm going to say hello. So this lady's walking by, and she kept looking at me. I said, well, maybe she recognized me, So I said, hello. She said, don't say hello to me. You gave me a ticket 5 years ago, I said, okay. I said, but that's not going to change. I'm going to still say hello. When in doubt, I'm going to say hello, and I'm going to be peace on earth. But I can see that you both enjoyed your life as military. And are you on reserve too, if they called you?
I'm not. I was on inactive reserve for a period of 4 years after I did my time, to where I could get called to go back in the time of emergency. That never happened, and I'm now done my inactive service obligation.
So you're strictly with the police?
Yes.
And next thing you know, you'll be looking to maybe get married someday, right?
One of these days.
You have a little bambinos too, right?
We'll
right?
see. We'll see.
But what's your wife's first name?
Rhonda.
What is it?
Rhonda.
Oh yeah, that's good. And when you're away, what's the wife? What's her feelings on that?
That was hard for her.
Yeah.
It was hard for the whole family. It was hard for me. I mean, being away from them for the first time for an extended period of time for a year long, that was hard. One of the big steps that with the amount of time that we've been over there, the infrastructure, all that stuff, we're able to have that connectivity with the internet, so I could Skype a little bit when we had a good signal and all that stuff. So I wasn't completely separated, but just, boy, that distance was hard. That distance was hard.
Right. Well, when I was in the service, I was single, so, and I felt sorry for these other guys that they were getting letters, and they were crying, and it was a sad thing, But when the time came, we had to go out in a drill, whatever we had to do, we did it, They put the things put aside. Now, what do you have for your future? What do you?
My future now?
Yeah.
I got 23 years in now, so I can go whenever I want.
Wait, 23 years what?
As a soldier.
As a soldier?
Yes. And then I got 17 years,
And
almost 17 years as a police officer.
Oh my God, you look like you're just, you're a teenager.
I've been around a couple of years.
Oh
I'm still young in here, and I guess that's what keeps me going, right?
Yeah, that's great, you know. And how about you? What's your future? What do you got in mind?
My future, I'm going to do my time here at West Norton PD and retire honorably.
You bought a house in Norristown?
Bought a house in Norristown, and I'm a Norristown resident.
Yeah, 3 doors away from me.
3 doors away from, yeah, that's right.
It hits my refrigerator once in a while.
I think your refrigerator hits me.
Yeah. But, well, I think it's really good. You have a word you can say to, well, we're at Norristown High School now.
Right.
Okay? A word for teenagers today. What a word of encouragement. What do you think would be helpful to get a military training, or what would be good? What topic, like English, history, math, to maybe want to go into law enforcement, maybe they want to become soldiers, whatever. What do you think?
Well, I think personally, in growing up and making yourself a mature adult and taking a great step towards success in the future, is an opportunity in the military. And it doesn't have to be the Army, it doesn't have to be the Marines. I mean, there's lots of agencies out there. You got the Coast Guard, you got the Navy, the Air Force. Right. All those branches of service offer job skills and life skills that you can't get anywhere else. Certainly not in college. And college is always there for you, and it's a great place. But I guess my biggest message would just educate yourself. Stay in school, respect yourself, and educate yourself. Whether it's educating yourself in a military service like Anthony and I did, or educating yourself in college after high school.
I guess it would be education, training, experience. 3 things. You need the 3. You do have the education. Without any training, you do it, but you don't know what you're doing. You know,
Yeah.
So it's the 3 blend in. You know, and now what you had some side job. What do you ever do for side jobs? Do you ever do anything on the side?
Sure. Did you?
Well, I was a bartender for quite a few years. You know, I had to pay my bills.
Experience.
Sure.
Good experience.
You get
Everybody
to-
should be a bartender for a while and see how personalities change.
I did that too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
I
learned
did that for about 5 years after I came off active duty.
Yeah, you know, because you're there, you see people that come in and they're real nice, and then a couple of drinks next thing you know, they're complete different personalities.
people at their
and
best
it's good training
and at
for
their
a police
worst.
officer,
True.
because you don't know what the guy might have a mental problem, he might be drunk, he might, you know, you have a lot of problems. So it's good to be able to, when you go to you're the policeman's so important. The first one at the scene of a crime or something. They're like the O.J. Simpson case. The first police officer in there screwed up the case, walking on the blood and screwing everything up, you know. So a policeman is so important. The first guy on the scene of a crime, preserve the evidence, right?
That's it. I mean, and a lot of things like that. Yeah, first responder, first person there to help, first person there to
First
provide.
responders, right?
Any type of emergency, medical emergencies, car accidents. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, all right. Now, what else? Tell me what else you can do. What else you going to do?
After
You
I
had a pig roast. Let's tell about the pig roast.
Yeah,
What
West
happened?
Norton had a pig roast.
we had-
Anthony
we
was actually
did.
a big part of that. He sold
Huh?
a lot of tickets. He worked real hard getting that stuff together.
Yeah, it was one of
We're
our.
gonna have one
three,
next year.
We are.
All
we are.
right.
We're not
Good,
sure about the
good.
venue, but we do 3 fundraisers a year, and the proceeds go to our retired officers because
Right.
they no longer have any health benefits when they leave here. So we work, you know, pretty hard, pretty diligently for those 3 fundraisers, so we can provide funds for our.
You have a golf outing? What
We
else?
have a golf outing. We now have the pig roast, and we have the car show.
The car show.
Yes.
And that money goes to.
Our retired officers.
But this year, I think you assisted Brad Fox too. You assisted with donation to them, right?
Yes, sir.
I know it was very successful, and I was well planned, put together. So next year, looking forward to another big time, you know.
Well, I mean, we also donate to various illnesses and like lymphoma. We developed a lymphoma research, cancer research, and things like that.
Well, yeah. Well, now, how many men on your department?
20, 26, I believe, including the chief. 26 or 27?
27.
And I understand the chief is going to retire the first of the year, and then you got a new chief that's already picked up, right?
Yes.
What's his name?
Dale Mabry is going to be our new chief. Yep.
So, all right, now we talked about the Army, the Navy, Marine, Police Department, and families and everything else to go with it. So the half hour is over or more, and I want to thank you for coming on, Sergeant.
Thanks for having me.
And Sergeant, okay,
Thank
I'll
you.
call you by ranks. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for allowing us to come into your home, and may God bless each and every one of you. This is Armistice Day. Say a little prayer for the service people that are out helping us, keeping us safe, and also for the people along the Jersey Shore. So God bless you, and God bless each and every one of you. Thank you. All right, let's have a little salute.
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 To your health. Right.
2 years. We're gonna fold the flag, I guess.
Rock with it, right?
You good? Yeah.
Stay here.
Stay put.
Gotcha. Okay.
Thank you. All right? Good. All right, over there, Rock.
Yeah,
Wrap it up. Well, you know, the first time they did it, they were doing it nice. I said, keep going.
I don't know if they're dragging it out.
Yeah, that's it.
I don't know what we're doing here.
I should do this here. That's why.
If you're asking questions, I'm answering questions. That's all I know.
Well, that's, I looked at that.
We go fold this flag up.
Wait, he's gonna do that thing here.